Hello everyone, welcome to Sharmit. In this session, we are going to talk about another very important topic related to Angular lazy loading concept, where we will be seeing the difference between load component and load children. Prior to this session, we talked about what is load component, what is load children, right? These are the just two methods through which we can perform the lazy loading. But before we move to the practical example, I just want to show you the comparison between these two things. Why? Because if you are preparing for interviews or exam, then they might ask the questions on the basis of difference between load component and load children. So here what I'll do, I have noted down a couple of features. On the basis of those features, we will try to differentiate between load component and load children. Okay. Parallelly, we will also discuss about the syntax, like what is the syntax for load component and what is the syntax for load children. But before we proceed further with this session, I would like to recommend you to please go and check out the previously released sessions first, because they all are in proper sequence and sync. So if you follow them sequentially, then it would be much more easier for you to understand the ongoing topic. Because for time being, we are just mainly focusing on how to use load component and load children and what is the difference between them. Okay, and for the sequential content, you can refer the Sharmit digital coursebook, which is freely available in the description box. From there you can take a reference and you can try to implement the same in your application. There you will find more than 3000 plus resources available in both Hindi as well as English language. Okay, alright, so now let's see what we have here. So firstly, I have put down the heading, that is Angular 19 course by Sharmit. Then we have one table with 3 columns. One is showing the features, the second column is showing the load component, the third one is showing the load children. So these are the 3 columns, and these 3 columns will help us to differentiate between these two features. The first feature we have is loads. Okay, so here we will talk about the terms of loading. So here in case of load component, single standalone component gets load, single standalone component. But if we talk about the load children, then in that case multiple child route will get load. Okay, so I think the difference is clear in both of them. In case of load component, it only single standalone component is used. In case of load children, multiple child route can be loaded. Okay. Then we have second feature, that is bundle. So in case of load component, single JS chunk bundle is utilized. Not single, small. Okay, small JS chunk are utilized. But in case of load children, larger JS chunks are utilized for section bundle. Okay, so for section bundle, larger JS chunks are utilized, and in case of load component, small JS chunks are utilized. Then we have complexity. So in case of complexity, if you want to compare it on the basis of complexity, so you can simply say that load component is bit simple because we are dealing with only single standalone component. But in case of load children, it is medium to high as per the hierarchy. Okay, so if you are using multiple child routes, so if child are more, it will become more complex. If child is medium, it will become medium complex. So overall you can see you can say that complexity wise, load component is simple and load children is medium to high complex. Okay, then we have fourth thing, that is use case, like when to use what. So if you are talking about contact, such kind of pages, about page, about component, contact page, contact component, FAQ, that means frequently asked questions page or frequently asked question component. So in these kind of pages, in these kind of component, we will prefer to go with load component. But when you are talking about the larger things like admin dashboard, admin panel, dashboard panel, settings feature, right? So in such scenarios, when you are talking about the larger thing like admin, dashboard and setting, then in that case you will go with a load children. So I think difference is quite clear in between a load component as well as load children. Now the next thing is where we will get the child route support. So obviously if we are talking about the load component, there is no child route support, because this is something that comes with children things, right? So here you can see load children, here you will find fully supported, but in case of child route, load component not supported. In case of load children, it is fully supported. Similarly, if we talk about the shared layout, okay, so where the shared layout happens, so in case of load component it is not, but in case of load children, shared layout is applicable, it is valid. Now if we talk about the guard level support, so yes, in case of load component, guard support is eligible, it is implementable, but in case of load children, yes, here also the guard support is available. So you can simply say that in both cases guard support is available. Then we have resolver. I'm sure most of you already know about the resolver, because we discussed some example where we use resolver to send the data, right? So yes, in both cases, whether it is a load component or a load children, in both cases guard support are applicable, available. Likewise, we will talk about the ideals for beginners. So let's say if any beginner is watching this session, so which one is preferable to go first? Although you are supposed to learn both the things, but if we talk about ideal for beginners, so yes, our load component is a bit simple, and that is why it is considered as an ideal for beginners. But in case of load children, it is slightly advanced. Yes, it is slightly advanced, because here we are talking about the hierarchy, we are talking about the multiple child route, but in case of load children, we are just talking about the simple single child route. So that is why we can say that yes, load component is more ideal for the beginners, whereas load children is slightly advanced thing. Now what is recommended for Angular 19? Of course, the load component is a primary choice for the Angular 19, but in case if you want to go with a larger feature, larger and bigger project, then in that case you can go with the load children. Again, I would not say that one is better than other, because both have their own capabilities, both have their own pros and cons. So depending on the requirement, depending on the scenario, situation and the code need, you will decide what to use, when to use. Okay, but overall I think it is clear like what all features are there. On the basis of those features, how we will compare the things. Alright, so now the next thing is syntax. So here I will just quickly show you the syntax difference between both of them. So when you are into the app.route, although like this thing we will discuss during the practical example as well, but for now I'll just quickly show you like how this load component syntax look like. So in app.route.ts file, you will find something like this, where opening curly braces would be there, path would be about, path colon about, then load component, and in load component you will find that this thing import dot about, dot means root about dot component, then m of m dot about component. So this kind of syntax you will find for the load component. And if we talk about the load children, so syntax is almost same. You can see path admin load children. Here we just replace the method load component with load children, and here we are importing dot, that means root slash admin dot routes dot then, and then we are loading the r, that is r dot admin routes. So in both cases it will load the application, load the component only when it is needed, not all that time. Okay, so that is why we are saying that by using these two methods you can implement the lazy loading concepts, because these are the method or ways to lazy load the application in your lazy load the application. Okay, not like unlike this eager loading concept, here it will load things component only when it is not needed, not every time. So I hope this comparison is clear, the syntax difference is clear, and maybe in the next session we will talk more about the practical things. Meanwhile, you can learn these concepts, you can practice it, prepare the required notes, and if you have any queries, questions, suggestion, you can reach out to me through the comment section. So yeah, that's all for today. See you in the next session with new topics. So thank you for watching Tech Sharmit.